top 10, top 10, top 5, top 7. Well, that's certainly different. I'm getting in a rut here. There's gotta be something out there I could sink my teeth into.
I might be able to help with that. Oh, that was super effective.
What are you even doing here?
Yes, nice to see you too. I'm fine, thanks for asking. Hawaii was a bit rainy, but the food was good and the girls were...
You. Here. Why?
Fine. I'll spare you the exposition and just tell you I've got plans. Big ones. So big that, with my limited skills and resources, I can't pull them off alone.
And so you're here to make an offer I can't refuse?
Oh, no. Feel free to refuse it if that's what you want to do, but... would you really do that to an old friend who wants nothing more than to collaborate with you on our respective video projects?
Tempting, but I've got so much on my plate already.
What, with the top 10 lists? Come on. You said yourself you're getting into a rut. Take a chance. Step out of your comfort zone. Take a walk on the wild side.
I was never one for spontaneity. How wild are we talking?
Ever heard of the Vigilant Christian?
Doesn't ring a bell. I try to steer clear of religious debates when I can.
Oh, he's more than just religious, believe you me. He's a complete whack job. Conspiracy theorist, religious fundamentalist, technophobe. Really scared of Pokemon for some reason.
Wait, Pokemon?
I knew that'd get your attention. Yeah, he's making a video series on Pokemon Go, and it's... well, it's really gotta be seen to be believed.
Well, it's not in my comfort zone, but it's certainly in my wheelhouse. Alright, let's give this a shot.
Oh, God! Oh, fuck. We haven't even started the video and I'm already coming up for air. Look how stupid this image is. We've got Emo Ash Ketchum with a fucking Illuminati hat. I didn't even know they had a merchandising deal. An ironically ungodly fusion of Pikachu and Bill Cipher, sporting an incredibly unsightly skin tag above the eye. And on the screen of a smartphone that looks even cheaper than my clapped-out 7-year-old slider, there's a Gengar sporting what I can only assume is a layer of Coral Blue No. 2 semi-gloss lipstick.
Actually, it's Coral Blue No. 2.
And it's all on a generic hypno-swirly background. It's so painfully, surreally terrible that I almost want to call it a Dadaist masterpiece.
This cannot be Dada! It's too normal to be Dada! It's too shit to be anything else!
Yeah, okay, he's got a point. Honestly, if your title card artist isn't you, you should probably fire him. Then again, if it is you, I've always wondered what it would look like if somebody fired themselves.
Alright, hey everyone, it's TVC Mario, and you're here for another edition of Satanic Illuminati Media Exposed.
AKA Dan Brown, the series.
In today's video, I wanted to go ahead and start my video series exposing the new Pokémon Go video game. This game is so popular, there are millions and millions of people who are just flocking to download the app and start playing the game.
Oh, rub it in, why don't you?
Now, I wanted to go ahead and warn everyone that this is, in fact, an agenda to mind control the masses to prepare them for the augmented transhumanist reality, the coming Illuminati matrix that's going to be created and is going to plug people into it, literally.
You serious?
Oh look, yet another fucker who doesn't know what literally means. Or rather, what it's supposed to mean. Good God, I fucking hate how we've broken the word over the past 100 or so years.
By the end of this video here today, you're going to see that there is a sinister agenda behind this game. There are many, in fact, and that's why I'm going to do several videos. But today, I wanted to specifically focus in on the augmented reality transhumanist agenda of the Pokémon Go video game.
Oh my God, he's serious. Okay, so I'm just gonna play like I'm a psychic type here for a second and make us a little premonition. How much you guys want to bet TVC has no idea what the differences between augmented reality and virtual reality are? Hell, double or nothing. He thinks The Matrix is a documentary. Any takers? Anyone? Ah, damn it. Looks like I'm going home none the richer. Y'all know we don't monetize these videos, right?
So let's go ahead and get right into it. Now, the first thing that we need to talk about is the agenda to become a transhuman. I've talked about this on this YouTube channel repeatedly. For those of you who don't know, there's a movement out there called the transhumanist movement. And the Illuminati, these secret societies that run our world, are transhumanist.
Okay, I would wait until he explains his stuff, but I'm gonna say right now that he does such a shitty job explaining what transhumanism really is that I guess I'll have to do it for him. Transhumanism is an intellectual movement that aims to transform the human condition by developing and creating widely available sophisticated technologies to greatly enhance human intellectual, physical, and psychological capacities. Transhumanist thinkers study the potential benefits and dangers of emerging technologies that could overcome fundamental human limitations, as well as the ethics of using such technologies. Now, TVC using transhuman probably wasn't right. I personally think posthuman is more accurate. I also call your use of movement into question. The Wikipedia bit I posted also uses movement, but it uses it as part of intellectual movement. You make it sound like there are people out there who want to start this big revolution to make people transhuman or posthuman or metahuman or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Intellectual movement, however, implies that it's part of a philosophy focusing on the ethics and science behind the possible technology of all this. While I don't consider myself a transhumanist in any way, because I personally think the risks of such technology would outweigh the benefits, I can understand why transhumanism as a philosophy and intellectual movement exists. And the fact that you're being so fucking narrow-minded about this just shows that you're, quite frankly, intellectually stunted, if not intellectually dishonest. How very Christian of you.
I'm sorry, but speaking as someone who occasionally flirts with transhumanist philosophy, and it is a philosophical school of thought, not some kind of active socio-political movement, I can't even hear the word without immediately thinking, I sexually identify as an attack helicopter. You've ruined me, Tumblr!
They believe that through technology and mutating their DNA, they are going to achieve divine godhood.
That's immortality that's the ultimate goal of some of these transhumanists, not divine godhood. And even then, that's only a small fraction that want immortality. You know why so many transhumanists don't want immortality? Because they're afraid that they'd end up overpopulating the Earth if they end up immortal. Or even more simply, they'd get fucking bored!
To become immortal men here on Earth.
Oh, so you do bring up immortality. Here's the problem though. Immortality is not the same thing as omnipotence nor omniscience. You of all people should know this given how you believe in an immortal, omnipotent, and omniscient God.
This is a great deception, and in fact, the only way to eternal life is by Jesus Christ.
Unless, of course, you believe in another religion that believes in eternal life after death. Way to be sensitive to other people's religious beliefs there, asshole.
This is Satan's counterfeit. Satan wants to counterfeit God, so he wants to promise
that audio flub editing, though.
Humanity a salvation, but it'll never happen. It's a deception. But in the world today, we have fallen human beings who are deceived into thinking that they will become cybernetic gods of a golden age in the future. Now, part of the agenda to create this augmented reality for the cybernetic illuminist is to create a augmented reality, a sort of matrix, so that the world that we have right now is actually no longer in existence.
Aha! See, this is where we get into the meat and potatoes of the matter, and this is something really near and dear to me, being a massive sci-fi geek and an obsessive gamer on top of that. What TVC is describing here is a virtual reality, not an augmented reality. Now, I'm pretty sure that most of our audience are of a similar mind to my own and know what these two things are, but just in case someone stumbles across this video and isn't familiar with VR/AR terminology, let me take a second to break it all down for you. TVC's description of the transhumanist agenda sounds like a direct ripoff of The Matrix, which is pretty much one of the best modern examples of virtual reality in science fiction. Virtual reality is a technology that gives users the sensation of being in a world that is not our own by blocking out real-world sensory input and replacing it with artificial sensory stimulation. This sort of technology isn't nearly as immersive in real life as it is in The Matrix or Tron or even Digimon, God help you, but it's been around in one form or another for decades. Ever been to an arcade that had a racing game with a moving cockpit? That's an early form of VR. Mission Space at Disney World's Epcot is an even more immersive VR experience in the same vein. And, of course, we can't overlook the home version. The Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive have become veritable darlings for bringing the immersion of VR into gamers' day-to-day lives. Pokémon Go is not virtual reality. It's augmented reality. Augmented reality is any technology that overlays additional sensory input over the input you're already receiving from the world around you. It's actually relatively new technology compared to full-on VR, with the earliest examples I'm aware of manifesting courtesy of Nintendo's DSi and 3DS systems. AR cards, face raiders. But it's become fairly common in cell phone apps like Pokémon Go. Anyone with half a brain could tell you they're completely different technologies, and it's worth noting that neither technology is even close to the idea of plugging into the Matrix, leaving your body behind and experiencing the world entirely digitally. That's just not feasible with our current technological know-how, and neither Satan nor Pikachu has the power to change that!
It is basically replaced with a fantasy cybernetic false matrix. And the Pokemon Go game introduces this concept with augmented reality. Augmented reality is something I've been talking about, and I'm going to continue to expose as part of the transhumanist agenda. They literally want to plug us into the Matrix.
Wait, didn't he just say all this shit? I think his programming is caught in a logic loop or something.
Oh my god, the Matrix, guys, is clearly a Cylon or some shit.
Sigma, Cylons are Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, please, these guys can't even figure out how logic works. Do you really think they care about fictional continuity?
There is going to be a reality that soon will be only seen through cybernetic eyes.
He says while hovering his cursor over AR goggles.
You're going to need augmented technology in order to access it.
But it's not a virtual reality, is it?
And I need to warn you, at some point, we are going to have to break away from the technology.
Or you could, I don't know, just not buy the tech you don't want? Nobody's forcing you to buy Pokémon Go. Hell, nobody's forcing you to buy a smartphone, much to my unending chagrin. My point is, if you don't want to use augmented reality tech for one reason or another, nobody's making you. The technology hasn't reached a point where society needs it to function, and in all likelihood it never will. Much as the internet hasn't stopped people from meeting IRL, something Wendy and I have actually done, then you can bet that there will be times when people put down the Google Glass and go for a walk in the woods like the ones your youth group leader used to take you on. Alone. With his fly unzipped.
And most humans won't. You know, you see the stuff like Pokemon Go and they're like, yeah, this is so cool, man. Let me just jump into the transhumanist reality matrix without even thinking about this.
I'm someone who doesn't even have a smartphone. I don't give a shit about not having access to Pokemon Go. I really don't. I personally think the hype about Pokemon Go has been blown way out of proportion, especially since about half of the people playing Pokemon Go never even gave a shit about Pokemon before now. Not to mention the game has inadvertently caused some stupid shit to happen. That being said, I can't deny that Pokemon Go is doing some good things for people. It's getting people to actually go outside and socialize and exercise. It's doing good things for people, yet here you are saying it's part of some conspiracy agenda. Are you fucking kidding me?
You know, it's going to be literally presented as the most awesome thing. Think about it. Most people flock to go get their iPhone 6. So when the augmented transhumanist matrix is created and people can come and play video games and do things like this, trust me, they're going to flock to it. And they already are with this ridiculous video game.
The game is not a virtual reality simulation. Good lord.
Okay, so we need to be on guard and vigilant. This is a very sinister agenda by twisted people. Here you see on Time magazine, they believe that by the year 2045, they're going to be able to plug into this cybernetic augmented reality, this matrix that's been created, and become immortal.
Yeah, and 15 years ago, there were people who thought we'd have time machines by 2009. What's your point?
Oh, please. Time magazine hasn't been culturally relevant in upwards of a decade now. It's basically just another sensationalist birdcage liner that's less concerned with actual news than it is with the vapid, outdated opinions of its own resident stock of talking heads. I'd say you're better off getting information from the National Enquirer at this point, but, well, something tells me you already do.
And in fact, they showed us in movies that this was their agendas. One of the things about Hollywood is they're not just creating entertainment movies, okay guys? The movies are specifically created as predictive programming, showing us things before they occur.
Do you not understand the concept of speculative fiction? Sci-fi falls under that umbrella. Of course various science fiction stories are going to make predictions about the future of humanity. Look at Star Trek. I'm talking about the original series, by the way. Now, while we're light years away from contacting an alien species or making starships that run on technology similar to Star Trek's warp drive, people decided to run with the concept in the series and build on it to make real-life technology based on technology in the series. Look at the communicator. Now look at how similar it is to old model cell phones. Yeah, someone took inspiration from Star Trek to make cell phones. Now, telephones already existed, and it's smaller scale compared to Star Trek's main gimmick, but it still shows how a sci-fi show can be an inspiration for how real-life technology can meet and even surpass that of a TV show.
Here in The Matrix, we actually saw the augmented reality.
Virtual
Neo
reality.
gets plugged into, you could say, the Oculus Rift and then sees cybernetic reality that in fact isn't even real.
Neo is being plugged into a virtual reality. The Oculus Rift is a virtual reality device. You don't plug yourself into it, and this is what it looks like.
Hello everybody, my name is Markiplier, and I've got another Oculus Rift horror game for you guys, but this time I actually have a gamepad that I can play to really get into the game, so I hope you guys are going to enjoy this one.
Huh. That guy kicking him in the balls was pretty realistic.
That's because it was a real guy!
Mark, was that...
We see that the Matrix, the augmented reality in the Matrix, is false. And this is what's going to happen to humanity. They're going to be pushed into the augmented reality, losing touch with what God had originally created and falling into a fantasy world created by Satan to be a replacement to them for the real world that God had created for us.
I thought other people were creating this virtual reality, not Satan. So, who's the Satan figure here?
And it's going to be promising fun and games and excitement and new special powers and abilities. Just come. Satan's going to tempt them, and the majority of the world will fall for the trap, plugging themselves into, damning themselves to hell for eternity into the Matrix.
And commandment number 11. Thou shalt not plug thyself into a world of virtual reality. For there Satan is thine admin, and sin thine virtual currency.
Yeah, would it kill you to slow down a bit? I'm carving this shit in stone because somebody decided it'd take another 2,000 years to invent Microsoft Word.
These technologies are being rolled out right now. You might be familiar with the Oculus Rift. This is just this, okay? In the Matrix, they're plugged in their brain. Well, okay, today we don't have a chip just yet, but we're putting these boxes over our head, and in no time, they're going to be rolling out new technology that is going to be right in the brain. In fact, these technologies are being worked on right now. You can go ahead and research neural interfaces that are brain chips. They basically put them in your brain, and it's like having an Oculus Rift in your mind.
Gotta love how you don't cite any sources for this. I looked up this neural interface thing, and the ones I found, at least regarding information for ones that are furthest along in testing, had nothing to do with video games. You seem to be talking about invasive brain-computer interfaces, and the ones that are furthest along in testing are to help treat blindness and restore control of limbs. Are you trying to say that restoring blindness with an invasive neural interface is a virtual reality? Because if that's what you're trying to say, then dude, go fuck yourself. Restoring a medical condition is not the same as immersing yourself in a fucking video game. And if you can't see that, then you're a fucking dumbass.
And by the way, no dumb shit, that's not an Oculus Rift in your mind. That's a hippocampal prosthesis, which is literally just an experimental artificial replacement for the part of your brain that processes emotions, links names with faces, and helps form memories. But oh, why must we play God by recreating parts of the human brain? Well, simply put, it's because damage to the hippocampus is believed to be a major cause of Alzheimer's, you twit! This is, of course, ignoring the fact that it's still completely experimental and isn't actually a thing yet, not the least of which because it won't work unless we were somehow able to create a silicon neuron interface that could translate neural impulses to digital signals and vice versa, which, spoiler, we haven't invented yet. The technology around which your entire Matrix conspiracy theory hinges doesn't even exist. It doesn't even take that much time to figure this out. I literally put this still image into a Google image search, got results for hippocampal prosthesis, and looked up the details on Wikipedia. That's literally all I had to do to catch you in a lie. You shouldn't be making it this easy!
So these technologies are coming, and look at all these people, okay? Mark Zuckerberg is
2 hours later, Mark Zuckerberg
trying to shove humanity in a soulless cybernetic trap. And here they are. Look at this. Look, losing touch with reality. Plugging right in. Do you see this? Open your eyes, people. They're showing you, look, plugged into a false reality. And here's Mark Zuckerberg plugging people into the Matrix. This is not good, okay? This is bad. This is something that we need to recognize. A lot of the world's leaders, in fact, have said, Elon Musk and other very prominent scientists and leading intellectuals in the world, who I don't agree with all of them on every point, but they did strongly warn us, humanity, this is bad. Stop merging yourself with technology. Technology is going to overtake us. I mean, it's just common sense.
Elon Musk has said no such thing. On the contrary, he said we're likely already living in a computer simulation. Now, I've got endless respect for the real-world Tony Stark, don't get me wrong, but I can't help but feel like his statements in that regard are a little overblown. The only thing he has directly warned us about is the ongoing advancement of artificial intelligence and the possibility that, one day, our computers won't need us anymore. Less, I know Kung Fu, more, I'll be back.
Last I checked, nobody is merging themselves with stuff like the Oculus Rift or their smartphones. Also, the stuff like the interfaces from Cyberkinetics is meant to treat various medical conditions.
But that's okay, because the elite don't care about us, and they want us to be completely mind-controlled.
Which is why companies like Cyberkinetics, BrainGate, and BlackRock Microsystems are making these interfaces, right?
In the augmented reality, this false reality that doesn't even exist, which is being introduced by Pokémon Go.
6 minutes into this video and I just realized something. You've barely talked about Pokémon Go at all. It's almost as if you don't know jack shit about the app itself, haven't done any research into what it is and how it works, and are jumping to conclusions based on your own Neanderthalic paranoias about modern technology. But that'd never be the case, would it?
So you play your little game, and how it works is your GPS will pick up certain locations, and you'll see stuff in the physical that is not there.
Nope, I was right.
Cyber. Now remember, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers. I believe this is something very spiritual, okay? Church, listen. They are starting to open up what I believe is the veil. This is going to allow things to come into our reality. When man goes into this new realm, this augmented realm, we don't know what we're traversing into. We have never explored this, and I don't believe God equipped us to go in these areas.
There is no new realm, you absolute fucking dunce! It's literally just cartoon characters being overlaid onto your smartphone screen. That's it! This technology has been around literally for years. I own an AR-enabled device, and it's a goddamn toy! You're afraid of toys, you sheltered, inbred buffoon!
Jeez, Sigma, chill!
I am a fire type! I literally have no chill!
Now, could this be a good thing? Absolutely, of course it could. But the problem is, our world is controlled by sick and twisted people who don't have our best interest at hand.
This is the closest you've come to a legitimate point, but as usual, your interpretation of it is completely off the mark. The people in power who don't have our best interests at heart, not in hand, how do you fuck up such a simple idiom, are our politicians. Well, most of them anyway. And it's not because they have some big, evil, mustache-twirling plan to reduce the world to a herd of mindless slaves. It's because they're a bunch of greedy bastards who will do anything they can to make sure they've got the cushiest life they can manage, and they don't care who they hurt in the process. They don't hate you. They don't want to destroy you. They just don't care. Apathy is the enemy, not some nebulous shadow organization whose existence is limited to a trashy thriller novel. Quit deluding yourself, stop acting like a child, and start trying to actually help people. That is what the world needs, not this bullshit. Look, I'm done with this. All he does from this point on is repeat the same bullshit he started this video with and then ramble on about how Pokemon is, oh my god, to Satan, and we're all gonna die and go to hell. There's really no point in both of us covering it.
More for me, then.
They want us as slaves. They want us with little chips in our brains so that they can do what they want, right? If they have a chip in your mind and that chip can then access certain regions of your brain and control you, you're done.
And this is just one reason why there are plenty of people in the world who aren't transhumanists, and indeed, plenty who don't even know what transhumanism is.
This pushes this augmented reality and brainwashes the masses to think it's the coolest thing and jump right in, trying to find their little pocket monsters. By the way, this is a pocket demon, a pocket monster. Monster's another word for demon.
According to the thesaurus, they can be synonymous. According to the etymologies behind each word, however, monster, Middle English monster, from Latin monstrum, portent, monster, from monere, to warn. Demon, Middle English, from late Latin daemon, from Latin spirit, from Greek daemon, divine power. Yeah, two different words with different connotations there.
So as everyone's chasing around their little pocket demons, they're going into the augmented reality to look for pocket demons. Do you realize, church, the significance of that?
Monster, noun. An imaginary or legendary creature such as a centaur or harpy that combines parts from various animal or human forms. A creature having a strange or frightening appearance. An organism that has structural defects or deformities. A very large animal, plant, or object. One who inspires horror or disgust. Nowhere in this definition is there a religious connotation. Shut up!
Think about that. Pocket demons going into an alternate reality to find these things? Wake up. Thanks for taking the time. Tune back in. I did a great Bible study on how to draw nearer to God. I'll leave that linked up in the description section. Encourage you to definitely check that out.
Yeah, all the links are plugs. No sources of any kind to back up any of his bullshit arguments. Lovely.
Join me on the Bible study where we're going to be looking at studying the Word of God together. This is the most important thing that we can do in these times because this is all Bible prophecy. God warned us about this. He warned us that in the end times, man would become extremely deceived. And one of the deceptions is believing that we can be like God, that we could give ourselves eternal life by merging ourselves with technology and augmenting ourselves. And this is a massive, massive deception.
A small fraction of transhumanists want that, and very few of us actually identify as transhumanists.
Thanks for taking the time, everyone. This is TVC saying God bless each and every one of you. As always, stay vigilant and fear no evil.
What'd I tell you? Grade A nutcase.
I've seen worse, but he's by far the worst I've ever bothered to commentate on. So, that's it then?
Oh, no. Not with this guy. He's a never-ending font of complete stupidity wrapped in the flag and carrying the cross. This is far from over.
Well, his next video's already out. You want to make this a double feature?
No. We'll burn ourselves out if we go after everything at once. I'm putting my top man on this next one.
Oh, I'm not your top man now, asshole?
Of course not. You're my top woman.
Oh, you. So who is your top man, then?
Tell you what. I still need to bring him up to speed. I'll let you listen in.
Shoo, sorry we cannot take your call. We're not at home now.
We would have answered the phone, but clearly we're not at home. And your call's an important one. We'll get back to you to make sure that we do. Leave a message so we know you called. Leave a message. Come on, leave a message. Start recording at the dawn.
Mentos, their message taker.
And, of course, he's disappeared again. Wendy?
Yeah?
Never work with hermits.
Baguette?